From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Arnab Goswami on the debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. The new Kia Seltos, Century Laminates and PolicyBazaar.com. Co-powered by Sera.
Good evening and welcome. I was thinking about the excitement that's building up in our newsroom, and I'm sure in every home across the country, anyone watching television today, anyone listening to the media, the great excitement before the lunar landing of Chandrayaan-3, and I was thinking, what would be the one word? I kept thinking, what would be the one word which really represents the spirit of this mission? And I thought hard, and I thought maybe one word could be patience, for we have been so patient against all the cynics around the world, against all the judgments on us as a nation. We have been so patient. So patience is one word which did come to my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, perseverance is another word which comes in, because what we've done is we've persevered year after year. When we didn't have technology with us, when we were denied, when the world was against us, we continued absolutely to persevere. And then the word which came to my mind, ladies and gentlemen, to describe Chandrayaan-3, for all our hopes are riding on it, our aspirations are riding on it. The other word which came to my mind is tenacity, for we have been tenacious. We have been tenacious against every single adversity. We have been tenacious against even incidents when technology has let us down. But ladies and gentlemen, the word which really stuck to me and which stays with me is relentlessness. For we have been absolutely relentless. Relentless in our pursuit, relentless in our ambition, relentless in our determination. And just look how far we've come. Just look how far we've come. How far we've come, ladies and gentlemen. As a nation, look how far we've come. As a people, as one, just look how far we've come. And let's celebrate how far we've come. For in 21 hours, if all goes well, we will be touching down. Chandrayaan-2 will be touching down in the south polar region of the moon, near the bottom right of the moon as we see it from our homes. This is a pivotal moment. We will be pivoting ourselves as a global space power. And also we will be just the fourth nation in the world to make it to the lunar surface. And what is most important is the fact that this mission represents the resolve of ISRO and of the nation to never give up. To discount the cynics. To isolate ourselves from the naysayers. To reject every ounce of negativity, to keep the targets within the realm of possibility. And what ISRO is doing is incredible, to reverse engineer from past failures and past experiences to try and make this mission as foolproof as possible. And that is why I said that the word that comes to my mind, in that sense, this mission can be captured in that one word which also represents the resolve of the entire country today. Relentlessness, relentlessness. We are a relentless country. Utter relentlessness and absolute relentlessness. The spirit of never giving up. The spirit of never stopping. Of never stopping to dream and dreaming and achieving what everyone else would have written off as impossible. And yes, together we are relentless, and that is the spirit of the new India. And that is why when we are hooked on television tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, early in the evening, we shall remember that through trials and triumphs and failures and experiences, we are a relentless nation. And that's debate number one tonight. For there is global excitement. There's global excitement for the landing of Chandrayaan-2, ladies and gentlemen. The soft landing of Chandrayaan. That is tomorrow. And tonight we are discussing the significance of this mission. That is debate number 1, Chandrayaan-3, I'm sorry. The soft landing on the lunar surface of Chandrayaan-3 is debate number 1, ladies and gentlemen. That's debate number 1. And debate number 2 this evening, a simple gesture, a marvelous gesture of Rajnikant of touching Yogi's feet has angered the Vadra Congress, debating at 10 o'clock tonight and at 10:30 p.m. this evening. From Nitish to Lalu, there's an explosion of VVIP racism that's plaguing Bihar, debating that at 10:30 p.m. And here are the headlines this Tuesday evening on the debate tonight. Chandrayaan-3, countdown begins for ISRO's biggest moon mission. Chandrayaan-3 is set to soft land on the lunar surface tomorrow. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to join the ISRO team virtually from South Africa during the Chandrayaan-3 landing. Prime Minister Modi to set the agenda, the first in-person BRICS summit since 2019. Rajnikant gives it back to the critics in the Vadra Congress, says it's a habit to bow down before yogis and sannyasis. An ambulance with a critical care patient stopped for the Chief Minister. DSP carries an umbrella for Lalu. Bihar's VVIP racism is in focus. And 16-year-old Indian chess prodigy faces world number 1 Magnus Carlsen to become the world chess champion. And ladies and gentlemen, this time tomorrow, ISRO could have scripted history. Our team of scientists are gearing up for Chandrayaan-3 soft landing on the South Pole, the lunar South Pole. We're all praying for its success. The world is watching ISRO's feet very, very closely. And here is why this mission is significant, and then we have all the experts on the debate.
At 12:25 p.m., ISRO released images of the moon captured by lander position detection camera from August 19th. Moments later, high-resolution images taken from lander imager camera 4 on August 20th were released. These images show how close Vikram lander is to the moon.
If you see this video, let me tell you just briefly of what's going to happen. We took off from Sriharikota and then it was inserted into the lunar orbit, and tomorrow this is what is going to happen. Tomorrow the touchdown is going to happen, and we will finally touchdown on the moon if all goes well, and most scientists are confident.
ISRO has chosen the unexplored lunar South Pole for its landing and experiments.
So let's tell you why exactly has ISRO chosen lunar South Pole and not the equatorial region. Now, due to the rugged environment, the polar regions of the moon have remained unexplored. There have been several orbiter missions that have provided evidence that these regions could be very interesting to explore. There are indications of the presence of ice molecules in substantial amounts in the deep craters in this region. In fact, India's 2008 Chandrayaan-1 mission indicated the presence of water on the lunar surface with the help of its 2 instruments on board. Now, the extremely cold temperatures in the lunar south essentially means that anything trapped in the region would remain frozen in time without undergoing much change. The rocks and the soil in Moon's north and south poles could therefore provide clues to the early solar system.
After the Chandrayaan-2 heartbreak, our scientists have worked round the clock to ensure negation of errors.
Particular goal of handling possible variations of larger extent, it means making certain changes in the hardware. One of them is that we were landing with a single engine last time. Now we are going to land with 2 engines this time. Second is we are having more fuel on board to handle dispersions of wider area. Third, we have more power generation on board. And finally, with all of this, we did large number of testing and simulations to prove that our approaches, our algorithms, our sensors, our failure modes are validated before test.
Wednesday, 5:20 p.m., the world will be glued to the live telecast from ISRO control room. $1 billion will be hooked on for the success of India's ambitious moon mission. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And I have my star guest, Nambi Narayan sir, tonight. And Nambi Narayan sir needs no introduction, legendary scientist from ISRO. He's joining us live from Thiruvananthapuram. Nambi sir, can you hear me? This is Arnab here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well, Arnab.
Okay, great.
I can hear you
Good
very
to
well.
see you. You're looking great. And we have a great panel here with us in the studio who are going to take us through what's happening. I want to just quickly welcome Professor Selvamurthy, former DG DRDO, incredible man, Director General of the Amity Directorate of Science and Innovation. He's chair, professor of life sciences, so many degrees. Thank you so much, sir, Selvamurthy, sir, for coming. Great to have you with us. We have Manish Purohit, former ISRO scientist, with us. Great to have you. I mean, I'm feeling a little intimidated. I'm thinking of all the academic degrees you carry, and I feel like hiding somewhere. Okay, but it's good to have you with us. We have with us Professor S.K. Dhaka, senior space scientist. Thank you very much, Professor Dhaka. And we have the very eloquent Srijan Pal Singh, senior scientist, founder, Kalam Center, and CEO of the Homi Lab, with us. So we're a good panel, and people would be happy or not happy. I wonder. No politicians tonight, Nambi sir, on my program. People are saying, is Arnab feeling all right? I said, no. I said, I'm on the moon already. So obviously, no politicians tonight. Let me start with you, Nambi sir. More a simple layman question to you. When there is so much focus, I wonder how people at ISRO would be feeling. I wonder how the mission directors would be feeling. I just want to know what goes on into the minds of scientists when they're under so much pressure, because the way they communicate seems so calm, so composed, almost clinical. But what goes on in the minds? What is the pressure they're experiencing ahead of this touchdown tomorrow, you think?
Arnab, naturally, anybody who works with such a system will certainly be excited, and I don't know how to express it. For example, in my own case, whenever there is a major test, let it be a full duration ground firing, or let it be a flight test, we used to be very tensed up. But we don't show it up. Maybe the face will show, but we don't show it up. Now, here is a situation where we just missed the soft landing in Chandrayaan-2. Now, this Chandrayaan-3, till date, just now, up to this point, or even beyond tomorrow afternoon, we have the repeat of Chandrayaan-2, excepting for some events, little bit change, weights and stuff like that. But I am sure, let it be Somnath or let it be the other engineers who are associated with this, will be certainly tensed up, though they may say that. But I have talked to some of them personally. Everybody is absolutely confident. Then I asked them, are you tensed up? The same question. Naturally, that we are keeping our fingers crossed. So the net answer to your question is, yes, they are tensed up, but they are confident. That is most important. They are confident that it will be a success because they have addressed all the problems which arose out of Chandrayaan-2. And also we are better equipped this time. Redundancy is enhanced. Cross-checking is enhanced. Modeling is done. Simulation is done. And above all, we have the support of the other agencies which are associated with the tracking and the telemetry reception, and then passing on the data to us, and so on and so forth. So answer is yes, they are tensed up, but they are confident.
Well, that's very well put. Professor Selvamurthy, Dr. Selvamurthy, you have seen the applied science of technology. And whenever we think very high, whenever we do something that's not been done, that's beyond the mundane, it's difficult for lay people to comprehend why. You know, one can understand, oh, we need this bridge, we need this battle tank, we need this fighter jet to defend us. Very layman terms. How will this very ambitious project help the country, short term, medium term, or long term?
This is a very important program which has been launched by India, which is going to prove many technologies, right from materials, what type of materials to be used in a system which will encounter different vagaries of the environmental conditions, cosmic radiations, temperature shocks, all this material technology. Then the propulsion, you have to take 4-ton load to a distance of 3 lakh kilometers. So you need the propulsion. You need to control guidance, navigation. So these are all technologies which go into such a complex system of systems for such a big mission. Then you also have the payload integration, payload separation, and the precise injection of these into the orbits, and then changing the orbit with the right kind of propulsion and control and guidance and navigation. So these are all complex technologies which is a rocket science.
Once you fix it,
yes,
once you get a grip on it, does it make it easier to replicate again in the future?
Yes. This is the first time when you do. There's a lot of complications, ambiguities, uncertainties. But once you
get it right.
Once you get it right, then the confidence level is very high. Even as was told by our Nabi, see, we have done the Chandrayaan-3, almost we were there, except for the last few minutes of the glitches which we had.
I know.
So that is why the confidence level of our ISRO scientists is very high. It's just the reproduction of what was done in the Chandrayaan-2. And only looking at the last part, where did we fail? So it's a failure-proof design and operations which they have adopted to design.
I'm going to come to that. So you know, when we speak of space technology, they talk about, I mean, the other cases, for example, you know, Elon Musk, the first time he did reusable rockets, etc., the focus was on the failure, and there is such an intense focus on the failure.
Yes.
You see, failure, I think, sometimes gets documented, unfortunately, far more glamorously than success.
Because we learn a lot from failures.
Or but people assume that it's only success. What I found, what you said was very exciting. And viewers, let me explain this to you as I take another thought from Professor S.K. Dhaka. What Professor Selvam-Murthy is saying, and I'm going to take this to, actually let me take that to Madhavan Nair and then come to you because he has to leave. Sure. Professor Madhavan Nair, can't see you in the studio, so sorry to keep you waiting. Professor, Mr. Madhavan Nair, G. Madhavan Nair is former chairman of ISRO. Can I have him on the screen, please, Aditi? Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Nair, for joining us. Something very exciting Dr. Selvam-Murthy just said. He said that once you get this right the first time, the possibility of replicating it the second time, third time becomes that much easier. And that is the significance of tomorrow's landing. Would you like to expand on that, Mr. Nair?
Well, certainly once you do a job, the second one becomes easier. But we must recollect that 4 years back when we had the Chandrayaan-2, the soft landing operation, we had a glitch and finally it crash landed on the surface of the moon. So the lessons learned from that are very important. And ISRO has been working on the possible reasons for such a failure, and they have taken all conceivable corrective actions in the Chandrayaan-3 design. So the design modification which has been incorporated, the strengthening right from the pods to the thrusters, the computer, the software, the sensors, and so on. So all these, and also the host of simulations which has been done on the ground, that is the one which gives us confidence. Any mission, it has got its own uncertainties and complexities. But to anticipate the problems and prepare ourselves to the maximum extent is what best one can do. And I understand ISRO has done its homework properly. And there is a reasonably good chance that we will have 100% success in tomorrow's operations.
Why is landing on the lunar surface so difficult, Mr. Nair? You know, we just saw Luna 25, the Russian space agency Roscosmos, which put out Luna 25, which crashed 2 days ago. And Roscosmos said that there was a deviation of the actual parameters of the impulse from the calculated ones. And the Russians are known to be very, very advanced on space technology. Yet they couldn't do this. They say there's a lot of maneuvering. What makes landing on the lunar surface so incredibly difficult?
One thing is very unfortunate that Luna mission has crash landed. With the 50 years back, they have demonstrated that they have the capability to land on the surface of the moon and even return samples from there. But in this particular mission, something has gone wrong, either on the computation of the thrust or in the gravitational or in the orbit determination and so on. So there could be various reasons, but the exact reasons are not announced so far. But as far as the moon landing is concerned, the uncertainties are many. We don't have a clear picture about the lunar orbit. Of course, India has done twice. The Chandrayaan-3 and Chandrayaan-2 orbiters are there. From there, we are able to get a reasonably good picture about the gravitational field around the moon. But more than that, there is no atmosphere there. In the Earth orbit, once you break from the orbit, the atmosphere helps in reducing the velocity. And then finally, we can use parachutes to have a soft landing either on the sea or land. But on the moon, this is not possible. So every instant, of course, as it is going into orbit, it has got about a velocity of about 1.6 kilometer per second. From there, at the landing point, it has to be less than 1 meter per second. So to reduce this velocity in a very precise manner and take the lander through a precise trajectory is a real challenge. There is no beacons, there is no GPS, and we have to depend totally on the onboard instrumentation for this purpose. There are cameras, laser ranging system, and the Doppler meters, and the gyros and accelerometers built into it. And more than that, redundant powerful computers are there, which carries out the real-time computation required for this purpose. So that's said, perhaps last mission up to 2 kilometers above the surface we have reached. But this time, ISRO has taken a very cautious approach. First, they will reach up to 7.5 kilometers, then gradually bring it down. And as it approaches about 1 kilometer to 100 meters, it will be looking for the landing site, proper landing site from the camera images. And virtually the platform will have been made to float and then move laterally to the desired location. This is extremely complex and difficult operation, and all the sensors, thrusters, and the computer and algorithm has to work precisely. We have practically no control from the ground once the command for the sequence is initiated. So the 20 minutes is really going to be an ordeal, and we have to carefully watch every step of it.
And this will all be telecast live, you can imagine, we say sometimes that when, I'm sorry to even make the comparison, but it said, Professor Dhaka, that imagine the pressure on a cricketer when he has to go out and score 12 runs in the last over. But imagine the pressure on the space scientists tomorrow. Just imagine the pressure. I cannot even comprehend the kind of pressure that there must be. And I just want to ask you, Professor Dhaka, what is a failure-based design? I keep hearing about this, that Chandrayaan-3 has a failure-based design, calculating everything that can go wrong. What really does it mean?
I think, Arnab, I take you to the Chandrayaan-2, and I think let me make a minor correction for that, because people feel that Chandrayaan-2 was a failure, but probably not. And the orbiter is still orbiting in a very nice way. We are having wonderful, images. And those images, I think you remember, like 2 days ago, there was a tweet that Chandrayaan-2 said, "Hello, buddy, you are welcome here on Chandrayaan-3." So we got, I think, the millions of the pictures from Chandrayaan-2, and those pictures, they are very, very helpful for us to understand the surface and the different, sites of the moon. And then Chandrayaan-3. Of course, the last minute in the Chandrayaan-2 that we were a failure, the lander could not land precisely, and there was a crash. But in this particular case, learning from those data from the Chandrayaan-2
Yes.
has been specifically designed that we are having wonderful camera now.
Yeah.
The camera can take pictures and then it has an automatic system to detect any hazards or maybe if there are any big rocks, so it can easily detect that. And
Yes.
then when it is very close to that, the before landing, it has many pictures, and those pictures are analyzed and
Yeah.
compared whether this is a very specific and favorable site for us to
So there's a choice.
descend.
There's a
Yeah.
choice that is
Yeah.
being made out there.
Yeah.
What my question to, and I'm delighted to be also joined by former ISRO director Dr. Surendra Pal Singh, who's with us. Dr. Singh, thank you so much. I feel privileged to be in the company of such distinguished scientists of the country. Professor Surendra Pal Singh, there are basically two questions in my mind. I'll put the first to you. Why is the rest of the world looking so, and sorry if it sounds a layman question, but we need to understand this to a larger audience, Dr. Singh. Why are so many agencies around the world looking at Chandrayaan-3? It's not just NASA. Every space research organization on the planet is talking, conversing, discussing about Chandrayaan-3. Why is that? Do they also have something to benefit if this mission is a success?
Thank you, Arnab. First of all, I wish to thank you for all the adjectives which are available in the English dictionary for ISRO. Let me also add to Dr. Madhavan Nair, who is, who was the brain behind the Chandrayaan-1 and later on planning of the Chandrayaan-2 and Gaganyaan and all those things. I worked with him. Now, see, two things I want to say. You asked why everybody is interested in Chandrayaan-3. Because nobody has gone to the South Pole, where, it's a total geography is changed. It has got a lot of boulders, a lot of craters, and also it's assumed that one of the craters will have water. So tomorrow, if somebody puts a station there, that water can be used, using the solar energy, water can be used as a fuel, and we can go to further examining the universe. Another thing is that experiments which are being put on this one, the 6 experiments, the 7th one is from NASA. Those experiments, results of that will tell us how the moon was formed. There are 4 hypotheses. So how the moon was formed. And the inputs which we got from the Chandrayaan-1, they will also be used by them. So the whole world is looking at it when all the geological data we get it, total surface data we get it. So one more thing I want to add is, you asked the question about whether ISRO scientists are tense or not. Well, everybody is tense. But another thing is that no ISRO scientist or space technology will ever take things lightly, even if we have repeated n number of times. Because you don't know, there are always unknown parameters which can cause a failure. Although a lot of precautions have been taken care, here algorithms have been made into 2nd order and 3rd order. And what I understand is that all the systems have been tested, majority of them, for by simulation practical as well as theoretical, and they have been done for 6 sigma. It means we can tolerate 1 error in 1 million. So that sort of confidence is there, but still, yes, we are keeping our fingers crossed. And though everybody is quite confident, the chairman ISRO has made a statement that even if 2 engines work, still we will land. If we don't land on 23rd, 27th, it will be westward. See, we'll land on, but it will be westward, still we'll have 14 days. I also understand from my colleagues, who are in ISRO, that the total system, when it comes to night, it will go to sleep. And solar panels, when it comes to the day, will provide heaters. There are heaters. So whole electronics will get heated. And maybe after 14 days of this working, next lunar solar cycle, we will get another 14 days. And that way system may work for longer time. As far as payload module is, propulsion module is concerned, it will work for longer. It will work for years together because we have got extra fuel in that one. Thank you.
That's very useful. I just want to understand that in detail, in layman terms here. What was meant here, Manish, when we had Dr. Surendra Pal Singh say that if not on 23rd, then 27th? Because for everyone watching this tomorrow, I want them to get a full sense. If not 23rd, then 27th. Why is he saying so?
Can I use that prop?
You want to use a prop? Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah. Oh, you're giving me the moon in my hand. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on the moon. We're on the moon tonight. Okay, go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So let's see this.
Yes.
So this is the moon, and the moon is having a motion.
Yes.
And the sun is coming from this side, let's say.
Yeah.
So this part will see the sunlight.
Sorry, you're not on camera yet, so I need to be on camera from the beginning. Can I take a zoom in shot, please, so you can explain that closer? Yeah.
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 Okay. See, let's see this. This is the eastern part. Let's say this is eastern part. This is western part, and the sun light is moving from this side. So longitude-wise, I'll take the example of Luna also. Luna 25. Luna 25 was supposed to land somewhere here, and they were saying it will be landing on 21st.
That's the Russian one.
Russian.
Yes.
And our Chandrayaan is somewhere this side.
Okay.
So the first priority landing site for us is somewhere here, and the sun will start shining on 23rd.
Okay.
The second priority landing site is little westwards.
Close up from this side. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
So the second landing site will be little westwards. Means sun will take little more time to reach there. So if off nominal conditions happen, somehow we miss it on that day, we will have one more opportunity on 27th. Because it's all about landing on the moon when the sun starts shining.
So basic, in simple English, if the conditions are exact, then tomorrow.
Yes.
If the conditions are not exact, which are not in our hands,
still ISRO will try 99%.
Still ISRO will try.
Because what they have is, okay, I'll
sure. No, go on.
What they have is, when I'll assume that this is our Vikram.
Yeah.
And Vikram will be 150 meters above.
Yeah.
And the hazard detection camera, it sees something, some pebbles, maybe uneven surface, something is there.
Yeah.
And we are not expecting that part.
Yeah.
So hazard detection camera, we have put in there. It will check that thing.
Yeah.
There is some issue. Move 150 meters ahead, you have to land.
Okay. So even if there's a little bit of a the sensors tell you something's not right, you can still adjust. Please take your seat. I want to go back to Nambi Narayanan for a moment. Mr. Nambi Narayanan, just coming to you after that, Srijan, because I want you to explain that on the screen. Dr. Nambi Narayanan, this Chandrayaan mission, in terms of the history of India's space exploration, Abhijit, sorry, I'm just going to come to you in a moment. Where would you place it? Because I'm told now we are going to have Aditya L1, we're going to have Gaganyaan, we'll have Mangalyaan-2, we'll have the Shukrayaan mission, which will study solar flames, and then we are going to have our own space station. And then I asked someone, when are we going to have our space station conceivably? They said, well, in another 12 years or so. And I'm amazed. We're going to see this in our lifetimes. We are going to see, ladies and gentlemen, India become both a superpower and have a space station maybe in the mid-2030s. I just want your sense of that in historical terms. Nambi Narayanan, sir.
Arnab, it's a very interesting question. I really don't know whether I can be very frank in this discussion. I don't think that you need so many years to put a space station, or for that matter, the things which you talked about. But please answer this question. For any such mission, you need funding, you need money. Not small, but large quantity of money.
True.
Where are we going to get this money from?
Yeah.
Question number one. Question number two, see, when the Russians were going within 6 days, we took about 40 days. And then many of the people used to ask the question, why is it 40 days? The simple answer is that we do not have the high capability or high payload carrying capability, meaning that we don't have a larger thruster. That's it. Very simple. In a very simple language, we don't have a larger thruster. Now we need to develop it. Now we need to... pardon? Yeah, we need to develop it. Now,
I'm
all
just trying to
these
understand,
activities... Actually, I will tell you one thing very frankly. Yeah. Actually, I will tell you one thing very frankly, that we do not lack the intelligence in doing any of these things which you are talking about. You need a large quantity of money, and that is where this privatization is being looked up, or in some sense we think that some of the private entrepreneurs will come and dump some money. But the point is, it is actually, many times I used to try to sell this theory, but I thought this platform I will try to make use of. Like NASA for America, ESA for European Space Agency, we need to have an Asian Space Agency, ESA. Many countries, some countries may join, may not join, but finally, if you are talking about interplanetary travel, you are not going to do it alone. It will be, the entire world will be looking for this kind of an opportunity. That's the only thing you can afford. Otherwise, you can't afford.
Okay.
Now, the point you asked a previous question,
can I take
that why everybody is looking at you? Why are they looking at you?
Yes.
Yeah, you wanted me to.
No. I just come to that point, but I want Mr. Madhavan Nair to respond to the first point here, because I feel that we are actually beginning to put our money where our mouth is. I mean, Gaganyaan is not a cheap project. I mean, Gaganyaan itself, I'm told, just coming to you, Abhijit and I'm coming to you. Gaganyaan itself has a budget of some 10,000 crore rupees, which will send Indian astronauts to space. So Madhavan Nair, we are spending money, aren't we? And I'd like your take on what was just mentioned.
Well, I don't want to contradict what Mr. Nambinaran has mentioned, but at the same time, we must be proud of what we have achieved over the last 5 decades in the space program. With a shoestring budget, we have built the rockets which can carry even up to 10 tons into low Earth orbit. That strength is what has given thought to the Gaganyaan program, by which we are going to have our astronauts around Earth. Now, the next step is if we want to send the astronauts to the moon, I agree that we need more powerful rockets. For that also, already some seeding has been done. The semi-cryogenic rocket engines have been in the design board, and soon the testing will start. So with that, we will have something like 25 tons to low Earth orbit capability soon. Again, this will be a cost-effective program. Now, what we need to have, whether we need a space station or whether you want to have a robotic exploration outpost on moon, these are the points where the scientists has to debate. And certainly, an outpost on moon is going to be cost-effective. And perhaps that's a direction which ISRO should be thinking of. Now, as far as funding is concerned, a great country like India, whose financial conditions are improving day by day, this finding 10,000 or 20,000 crores is peanut. Certainly, we can afford to have, and it's a national, not only the national prestige, to be in the forefront of the nations, spacefaring nations. This kind of expenditure is a must. This not only gives the thrust to the technology development of the country, but also gives a lot of enthusiasm to the youngsters to take up not only the challenges in the space, but in other S&D areas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Srijan, I will make you do a technical explanation, but before that, I'll go to Abhijit, and you're the cherry on the cake at the end of it. Abhijit Chawda, ladies and gentlemen, many of you know him as a very, very popular historian. I love the way he narrates history, puts things in historical perspective, and I'm a believer that if you understand history, you understand everything. But he's also an astrophysicist, many people may not know. So let me put a question that merges both to you, Abhijit. Put this in historical context for us. We always say we got a lot to catch up, we got a lot to catch up, we got a lot to catch up. And I'm a bit tired of hearing that all the time. We've done a great, but today I started my program saying, look how far we've come. My question to you is, how much have we caught up? And we are now playing in a different league. We are playing with Israel, with Japan, with Russia. You know, we have caught up a lot, haven't we? Can we actually move ahead as well, Abhijit? If you can put that in a historical context, in terms of both lunar and space exploration. And viewers, please remember, the moon could be the base for further space exploration. So tomorrow's important in that context. Abhijit Chawda.
Right, great question, Arnab. Thank you. Let's put this in context. So until 1970 or so, there were about 80 lunar missions that the US and the USSR attempted, out of which only 42% succeeded. And the Russians thus far have done about 60 lunar missions overall, or 40, and they have a success rate of 37%. That tells us what we are attempting and how difficult it is. And that's why the entire world is looking at India right now. Now, if we understand, let's see why we do this. Let's understand the motivations behind the space race. Because we are currently in Space Race 2.0, which is an extension of the new Cold War that we are witnessing. And right now, every major power worth their salt is making a beeline to return to the moon. And there are reasons for this. The reasons are that the moon is abundantly rich in certain resources, and we would like to have those resources. One, obviously, is water near the South Pole. So that will be a great thing which we can use to make rocket fuel in the future for future further space exploration. Then we have lots of minerals. The platinum is there. You have lots of other minerals. You also have the helium-3, which is a great fuel for future fusion reactors. So there's a lot of geopolitical incentive to go and have bases on the moon. And the Chinese they have ambitious plans for the moon. The Americans will return to the moon with human spaceflight next year. By the end of this decade, they're going to have yearly human landings on the moon. The Russians have big plans for the moon. And by the 2030s, the major space powers will most likely have permanent bases on the moon, either human settlements or robotic missions. And eventually, at the first opportunity, every major nation will start staking claim to land and resources on the moon. So it's a geopolitical race that we are witnessing. And India is, I would say, if we nail the landing tomorrow, will be in the top 4 space powers with the capability to soft land on the moon. So it's going to be a great leap forward. Now, like Dr. Nambi Narayanan was saying, we need to up the funding for ISRO. We need to invest in technologies that the others have, such as reusable rocket technology. We need to invest in more powerful rockets. I mean, ISRO has the capability to make a rocket that's 10 times more powerful in the next 3 to 4 years, but it needs funding for that. So we need to unleash the full potential of our brilliant scientists, and that will take political will. So that is the overall context of the significance of the Chandrayaan-3 landing attempt. I hope that it succeeds, because it's going to be one step forward for India. It's not going to be the ultimate achievement. It's going to be one step forward for India. And if India wants to be counted as a big power, we need to take the further steps. We need to have more powerful rockets. We need to have a space station around the Earth, if possible. We need to, by the 2030s, have lunar bases. We need to send people in space. So it's a long process, but we are on the right track right now.
Okay. Wow. It sounds so incredibly exciting, like science fiction. Yeah. Okay. We are very excited to have Srijanpal Singh, who's going to do a little demo. Srijanpal Singh, what is this 15 minutes of terror? It's 15 minutes of excitement, but you call it 15 minutes of terror. What's happening here? You got something to show about the 18 minutes of terror. So go ahead. Next few minutes are yours.
So it's not actually 15, it's actually 18. Probably 18 a little minutes. More than 18. Right. Depends on how things go. You've already seen the moon. So this is the moon. We are landing somewhere here at the 70th degree, right? Not exactly here. This entire region is called the southern polar region. But this prop is no longer needed. Professor Haka, could you hold it?
Yeah, sure. Right. Don't drop the moon.
Yes, don't drop the moon.
Thank you.
We have only one of them.
Yes.
This is a demonstration of the Chandrayaan-3. This is the Vikram lander. I have removed the legs. These are the engines, right? So these are like the engines, and this is the Vikram lander. I will use it, but let's come here. 18 minutes of terror. Why? Let's begin. This is our initial position, right? Let me just walk to this place. If this was our intended landing site, this is our initial position. We are at a height of about 30 kilometers, 25 to 30 kilometers, and at a horizontal distance of 750 kilometers. 750 kilometers is a lot. It's like from Delhi to almost Ahmedabad. So far away you will be from the moon's intended landing site. Now, 2 hours before this happens, ISRO will determine whether the algorithm to trigger the landing has to be given yes or no. Once that is decided, that's about 4 p.m. tomorrow. Once that is decided, you're sort of at a point of no return. The Vikram lander's algorithm, the AI, takes over. what happens is that initially the 4 engines are switched. All the 4 engines are on. The position is something like this. So you are now cutting on the horizontal speed. Now we have a speed of about 6,000. I'm using kilometers per hour because that's what we understand better in a daily language. This is right now at 6,000 kilometers per hour. All the 4 engines will be on. The position would be like this, and thus begins the landing. Now 6,000 kilometers per hour, to put in perspective, is about 8 times the speed of a standard commercial flying jet.
Yeah.
So that's how fast Chandrayaan would be. We then come to the second phase, right? About 11.5 minutes later, 11.5 minutes have passed. We have now covered 713 kilometers. So most of this distance has already been covered in the first 11.5 minutes. The Chandrayaan-3 has now moved downwards, and the height currently is 7.4 kilometers. I'll call it the phase 2, right? So from 30 kilometers to 7.4 kilometers. At this stage, now we are breaking the horizontal speed, so that will go down to about 1,500 kilometers per hour. We've cut it down from 6,000. But what has happened? A new challenge has emerged. The moon's gravity is taking force, which means in this time of 11.5 minutes, from there to here, it has now got a speed downwards of 216 kilometers per hour. Remember, to safely land, this has to be less than 10 kilometers per hour. We will now begin the phase of cutting down on this speed and this speed both. How do you do that? Well, for that to happen, you have to do this. You have to turn off 2 of the engines from this, and the moment you turn down 2 engines from this position, it starts assuming this position. So now the engines can also work against the horizontal or against the vertical descent, right? So this brings us to the third phase. So this goes on for about 3 more minutes, and we cover now a very short distance horizontally, which is only 3.5 kilometers, and we come to this phase 3, which is very, very crucial and very difficult. We are now hovering at 800 meters above the lunar surface. At this stage, 2 engines are working, of course. We are in this position, and we should have a horizontal. There should be no horizontal X, Y, Z, no velocity at all. So you're hovering like a helicopter. But of course, you don't have the wings because there's no air. So you have to use rocket thrust, which makes it so complicated, right? This is the stage at which another challenge comes in. You have to now switch on our sensors. Our sensors have to work. So what do? At this stage, our sensors go up. We start comparing the lunar surface. We start taking photographs of that. Remember that very soon the dust will also take over. So we are comparing the lunar photographs with our intended landing site and trying to match. The only reference this fellow has is the Earth. Now it is slowly descending. If all goes well, for the next 2 minutes, it will slowly descend from 800 meters to 150 meters. At 150 meters, you decide go or no go. Now, what can happen at 150 meters? You're getting photographs, you're comparing it with your intended landing site. Remember, our landing zone is 4 kilometers. No go or no go. I'll tell you what happens then. I'll come to that. But you are now in a landing zone of 2.5 kilometers by 4 kilometers. It's a huge landing site. You are at 2 engines right now. You're again cutting, you're maintaining speed as low as possible. Now, go or no go. What happens to that? So, we've just zoomed that part to here. This is the position of your Chandrayaan, the Vikram lander, right? You're at a distance of 150 meters. You're almost 0 vertical speed. You have almost 0 horizontal speed as well. You're slowly descending. 3 things can happen. One is that your sensors tell you that you are exactly at the place where you wanted to land. Great. That's like good news. Because then you can straight away land in the next 73 seconds. You can land from 150 meters to 0 at a speed. If not. So no-go. What happens when there is a no-go? No-go, what it does is that the algorithm has built a mechanism where it can, I told you, the area is 4 kilometers by 2.5 kilometers. So it searches for the best destination to land within that landing zone.
Within how much time is that going to happen?
Well, it has to happen within 73 to about 90 seconds. You have very little time now. Dust is flying. Your dust is going up. Your photograph is getting obscured. You are in a very difficult situation. However, what if you're not even in the landing zone? So what if you are not even finding the alternative landing place within that area. Then builds the third mechanism, where the Vikram lander has been programmed so that it can search amongst the available option in the strange land which you do not really recognize. It will be able to find out whatever is the most optimal place, which is a plain, flat land between one of those craters, and you can land there so that Pragyan can come out.
I mean, this is very well explained. I must say we're transfixed, and I must say we are all going to watch this so closely tomorrow. I've overshot the time limit, but yes, 5 seconds.
You asked about failure-based design. I can explain a bit from that graph.
I will do that with you tomorrow. I'm totally overshot the time limit on my own. But let me say, I really look forward to having all of you with me tomorrow. I think the moments we don't want to miss.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow evening when we are doing the program, it will be a privilege to have you with me in the studio when I'm hosting it tomorrow evening. Thank you for that, and thank you, very privileged to have with us Madhavan Nair, Nambi Narayan, Dr. Surendra Pal Singh, Professor Selvamurthy, Srijan, of course, Manish Purohit, Professor Dhaka, and Abhijit Chawda. Tomorrow evening, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a date. And when I come back on the other side, back to humdrum things like politics. We have been so elevated in the past that I will skip what we are going to debate when I come back in a few minutes. Thank you.